Colton RV creates fantastic memories that will change your life forever. Have you dreamed of getting into glamping in your own RV? Colton RV can help you take that step into the future with a new or used RV. Talk with a Colton RV team member online, by phone, or in person and see hundreds of RVs, from tent trailers to motorhomes and everything in between. It's all about great selection, unequaled service, and low prices. Open late at 2 convenient locations, one in Tonawanda and one in Orchard Park, New York. Now is the time to see the future at Colton RV.
Want to take your camping to the next level? Then why not try glamping? Welcome to RV Glamping Adventures, where you can have a little glamour with your travel adventures. Please join your hosts, Neal and Kathy, as they share RV glamping information, RV park reviews, product recommendations, and so much more. Here's Neal and Kathy.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of RV Glamping Adventures with Neal and Kathy. I'm Neal.
And I'm Kathy. Just got back from our big trip to Maine and New York City. And I don't know, we just got right back into our schedule. We planned on doing the show a little bit sooner, but I don't know, life hit us pretty hard when we got back.
Yeah, as soon as we got back, it just seems it's been one thing after another.
Yeah, so we were like, we got to get this show. I've already done a blog and put it up before we've done this show. So we thought we really wanted to share with you guys the experiences we had. We had a really great time. Just to sort of recap, our last show we did, on location from Maine with a very special guest, our daughter Olivia.
Very special.
She was the only kid that came with us on this trip, so it was kind of a weird one for us, but it was really fun. Like, I was dealing with a lot of mixed emotions as a mom, because I was really happy to have one-on-one time with her, but it was also weird not having all the kids with us, Yeah,
but it was a little cheaper too.
You
notice?
There's pros and cons to the reason the boys couldn't come was, obviously, our oldest one lives down in Florida and has a job and a life. And
he's got a life.
Our second oldest was working, and our third was able to go to Europe. So, he had some pretty cool plans.
Yeah, they were all doing their thing.
They all had stuff.
Totally,
and I
totally
had to
happy.
sit and realize, what am I worried about? They're off doing their own thing. We're going to enjoy ourselves and just have a good time.
I think we did.
And we did.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, Neal, while we were on vacation with just Olivia, with having 4 kids at different ages and just really, they've each had, such different experiences growing up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because of these age gaps. And it's kind of neat, But, I would definitely say the pros are it's cheaper.
Oh, it's totally cheaper.
To take one kid.
Yes.
Dinners down in Florida when there were 6 of us when we went for a nice meal. I mean, you can spend $200-300 for a nice meal at any of the parks at Magic Kingdom or anywhere else. I mean, 6 people for a nice meal costs some money. So the 3 of us, we got to eat. We were living large.
And it was like $100.
So, it was really, some were cheaper than that.
Some were cheaper than that.
We were able to eat the three, I think the 3 of us for under $30-40 sometimes too. But we had a couple nice meals because spent my birthday there. So, yes. But just to recap, Maine was a really fun trip. We were able to leave a little bit early from home. We decided to break the drive up rather than doing it in one day, which would take us about 8 or 9 hours.
And I think that was a genius idea, I have to tell you.
I wanted to go.
Yes.
I wanted to go. I was ready to go. I said, let's go. I'm excited. Let's get out of here. The one thing is I love going on vacation and I love coming home. And then I can't wait to go on vacation. I'm very fickle.
That's what I love about you.
So it was just, I think, fun just to be able to, we worked all day and we got in the RV, hit the road. We were able to stay overnight in Massachusetts at a Cabela's and, got up the next morning and had a great time in Maine. It was awesome.
It was great. I think, I was telling people when we got back, our day would start out, you and I would go for a run, then we'd go get Olivia and go to the beach, and then we'd go sit there for a couple hours and do our beach thing, and then go to back and have lunch.
I'm good for just a couple hours
at the beach.
And then, it was pretty windy, and it was a busy beach.
It's a very busy beach.
Probably prime time, that's why.
Compared to where we were in Florida, with the water, the ocean was a lot cooler. So there were times.
I didn't mind that, though.
It was nice, but when it was 65 degrees, you're about 80-something degrees on the sand, and then the wind would kick up, and it was like blowing across an ice cube. And I thought it was kind of a little cooler. It was very nice. I'm not complaining.
This is where you and I are different.
I like the hot.
Yeah, it was great. No, we could take, I mean, really, you shouldn't be out in the sun all day anyway.
Right.
But, so we spent our days, really big decisions, so we did the beach till about lunch, then we went back, had something on the grill.
Made a nice lunch.
And what
then...
was great was everybody went to, like, it seems like the whole world went to the beach for the afternoon.
Yeah, everybody was
And
there.
the resort that we were staying at was Wild Acres, which is a Sun RV resort. It was it's awesome. We've gone a few times
great,
before.
yeah.
You got to listen to that podcast to catch us, to get caught up on
And I
it.
actually read the blog, too. That was really
Yeah.
good.
But, what was great is there's like 4 pools there with hot tubs. And we were able to really have the pool. We had one, like, I loved where we were parked because we were like situated right next to the pool and the hot tub.
Yeah.
And on the other side of us was the bathhouse and the laundry,
And the
which
laundry,
was
you could
really
see the laundry, it was
convenient.
nice,
Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't mind. It wasn't like too much traffic or
No, it
like
was
it didn't
good.
bother me. I like the convenience of it. So it seemed like everybody in the world for the afternoon was at the beach. So we had the pool to ourselves, basically. And then we get to decide, well, then we go back to the RV and like
We'd
clean
have to
up
clean up,
for the day. You'll
shower
probably have
up
a
and
shower.
everything. Yeah.
And then sit and decide where we're going to go eat lobster.
Which we ate lobster every
We
night.
ate a lot of lobster.
Yeah.
And then we'd go for like a nice walk on the beach and go through town. And it was just like, really rough. It was very stressful.
It was one of the most
I wanna
relaxing.
go back.
It was so relaxing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Like, really, we should have done that second, and then
Yeah.
we're about to tell you guys about New York because it was
Yeah, we did it out of order in
exhilarating.
some way.
It was exhilarating. It was exhausting. It was awesome. It was all the
great.
things that you would
It was
expect New York
great.
to be. But yeah, we totally did it backwards. But the reason was we wanted to get the big part of the drive out of the way. So
Maine was further.
Maine's further for us,
Yeah.
and we thought we'll go to Maine, and then we'll go to New York, and then it's a shorter drive home. It just seemed to make sense. But really, we probably could have done it the other way around.
Now that we're talking about it, I didn't actually think about it till this moment, how relaxing it was, and
Yeah.
then how hectic it
Yeah,
was.
but maybe that was good for us to have, because we were working and everything,
Yeah.
and get rested up for New York.
Yeah, I actually think I couldn't have physically done New York if we didn't rest.
Really?
No, I could have
You
done
couldn't
it. I could
physically
totally.
do it?
But we
Okay.
did a lot of walking in New
Yeah,
York.
we did. I need a vacation from that part
Yeah.
of the vacation. So we spent about 4 days in Maine, and then we got all packed up
Mm-hmm.
and headed on to New York. That is where the adventure begins.
That was so much of an adventure.
And we learned, like on every trip you learn a lesson.
This was a big one.
The big lesson, and I guess we'll just start by saying this, you really need to get a GPS for an RV truck. We have never needed one
Well,
before.
here's the thing.
We have gotten away with it with just a regular GPS for a long time.
On our last podcast we did, though, we answered viewer questions or listener questions, which we really appreciate, and please send more to
Keep
us.
sending
right?
them. We love them.
So we answered a question. Someone asked us specifically, what kind of GPS do you use? And we answered, we use our phone, because that's what we've always used. We've been able to use our phone.
I think that's because we've taken pretty much main routes. It has taken us off. These are your typical GPS is really just for any car. So it's never really been a problem. Now and then it's
been a problem a few times.
It has been a few times,
been a
but
problem.
not like on this one. But, it might redirect you around some traffic that was upcoming.
Yeah.
We've learned not to do that, to take those, because it'll take you down some road that 12 foot, 13 foot RV in height, 38 feet long, needs to be going down.
Towing a car.
So typically
Not
we've
necessary.
taken it on throughways, highways, like that's, we've gone pretty direct routes.
Yeah, it's always been
So, and I have to tell you guys, first and foremost, thank you to everybody who responded when we kind of put the shout out to Facebook and just said, hey guys, we're traveling from Old Orchard Beach, Maine, down to New York City, because we were looking at all these ways to go. We put in the GPS which way to go. One had us going out to Albany and down. I'm all about the most direct route, saving on time, but gas.
And I understand that, but the most direct route on this one had us going down the 95 and over the George Washington Bridge.
Which I thought at first was a great idea, because
Which I was scared to death.
Over top with the trucks or something. There was like a whole route to
Yeah.
go. So we were both debating as we were driving down.
Well,
towards-
Kathy we were talking, and she's like, I have this genius idea. Let's put it on Facebook, and let's
I
see
did
what...
not say I
let's
have a
put it up."
genius idea.
She did. And then she
I
put
did
her finger
not.
up, and she said, Eureka!
No, I said, Neal, we always get good advice from everybody on Facebook, so I put it on the group. I said, hey guys, this is where we're going. Well, one lady gave us directions exactly how to do it.
Yes.
So, well, for the most part, yeah, she had us, but it was pretty much like once you got to a certain place, boom. We decided to cut over. It was taking over to the, what's the bridge that we were crossing over?
We wound up. What we actually
big bridge,
crossed?
yeah.
Oh, Tappan Zee
The Tappan
Bridge.
Zee Bridge. I
Yeah,
lost it.
We did.
I had Taconic State Parkway on my head.
Yeah, we used a lot of
We
her
pretty
advice.
much, yeah, we took her advice. The goal was to get to Tappan Zee.
Yeah.
And so we put in the GPS from where we were. How do we get to Tappan Zee the quickest? Huh?
Yeah, that wasn't really
That's
that
where
great.
everything went
yeah,
really wrong.
so this is the thing. When we've gone a lot of our trips, we've gone down south, and some roads in the south are made a lot newer and everything. The bridge heights are 16 feet, 17 feet. They're big. It's different.
Yeah, you got to realize in New England, these
When
things
you're in
were
New
built
England,
they're older.
It's an old
Everything's
area.
older.
It's an old area. So one of the trips one of the directions was to go down Route 15, Connecticut 15. And as we go down this road, it's older, and I think it was a dead end one way, dead end one side, a one-way street on the left, and then we turned, and as soon as we got around the bend,
No, it was go back it up a little bit more, Neal. It was saying go down the 15 south.
Okay.
And it said no commercial vehicles.
That's what I was going to say. There was a hidden sign.
But it was leading up to that.
Oh, yeah.
It was leading up to that. It said no commercial vehicles. We're like, okay, we've seen that before. It just means, we're not a commercial vehicle, so we thought it was fine. Then we came around
that's a
the
good
corner
point, yeah.
to the on-ramp.
Yeah.
And this is how Neal tells story. He leaves out chunks of important information.
Details.
Because
Who needs them?
there wasn't, I have to say, unless we missed something, and maybe it was us, but only sign I saw leading up to it was no commercial vehicles. That did not mean to me anything over 9 feet, do not enter.
8 feet.
But as we came around, no, it was 9.
Oh.
As we came around, I was there. I don't know where you were.
It was 6 feet.
We have very different sizes, like the fish story. But as we came around the on-ramp to get on, that was the 15 South, boom, there's the sign. It says no commercial vehicles again. And, oh, by the way, if you're over 9 feet, you probably shouldn't go here. Not in those words exactly.
Yeah.
And what do you do? We were like, oh my goodness.
Well,
because we were about to go on.
Here's the
was
thing.
Nothing you could do.
There was a one-way. We're on a road. To the left of us was a one-way street. To the front of us was a dead end, and then it was to the right to the parkway. And it felt like that's how it felt to me. And then I felt boxed in.
It was an on-ramp.
Whatever. It was totally not what we were expecting. So
we get on because we were going to get on and then get right off. And here's this bridge overhead, and it's sort of curved.
It was like an arch bridge.
It was an arch bridge, and I'm like, go in the middle. We looked. I'm sure people were honking at us. It was horrifying.
Yeah, we got honked at.
So we made it under. Thank God we didn't. You hear about those can opener bridges.
Mm-hmm.
I was just praying as we went under this, and then we pulled over and we were like, all right, where's the next exit? What do we do? Oh my goodness. And this family drove by, and these 3 beautiful children in the back, they were looking out the window, and I know their parent was like, tell those fools to get off this road. And all 3 of these kids, they were probably 8 to 10 years old.
They're like, get off,
They're like, get off, get off, get off. We're like, okay. We got off. I'm thinking up ahead, here's some 8-foot
just gonna
bridge
cut us right in
height. So we get off, and we're just freaking out because we're like, what do you do? So somehow, I don't know, I just got looking. Neal was driving. I got looking. I found us a more major route to go. I forget where we ended up going.
We got back on the 95.
The 95.
Yeah.
And then we were fine. And we made it all the way to the Tappan Zee. And we got down into Jersey City.
And they're doing work on the Tappan Zee. That new bridge is going to be gigantic.
Crazy. To go see the construction that's going on there. But let's just talk about how we needed, we have post-traumatic stress disorder. Because we've seen videos of trucks getting that can opener thing. Could you imagine?
No.
I would have felt like such a moron.
Oh my God, I've been so dumb.
Moron.
Or having to call the police to have us back out because that would have been the other.
Well, no, it would have been a whole. It really was
bad.
One of our lower moments for
It
sure.
was dumb.
So, needless to say, before our next trip, we're going to be buying a new GPS system for the RV.
Yeah, I think,
and please, people, learn from us. Obviously, we're we always have more to learn.
Well, and I'm sure
But
there's a
we've
lot
never
of you
been in
guys.
need.
I'm sure there's a lot of you guys who are listening to us who
Like,
have
what a bunch of
GPSs
idiots.
for RVs and are like, yeah, I put my height and my length in and my weight, and then it gets a nice route for me.
Yeah, please realize we've been
Yeah.
RVing since 2008. We've taken multiple trips.
Mostly
Never
major
had-
routes, yeah.
Never had a problem. But I think when you get up in New England, it's
a little different.
probably a little different. Anyway, lesson learned.
And I was stressing about the trip, to be honest
Neil was
with you,
so worried. If you listen
for
to the-
6 weeks before. I
yeah,
was
he was
nervous.
so worried about when you would get into New York, or I'm sorry, into Jersey City to go to this RV park. We went to Liberty Harbor RV and Marina, and it was very low last time that we
Very,
went.
very low.
Like we were very concerned we weren't going to fit, but I know other trucks go, and so. That's what you were obsessing over.
Yeah, it was. I
Come
know
to
the certain
find
bridge.
out, we make it through all this ridiculousness. We get down there fine, and then we get to the part where Neil was so worried about coming into Marine Drive, which takes you. It's right by the Holland Tunnel, and that's what takes you. That's basically where
I think it's Route 139.
Liberty Harbor RV Resort is. It's it's in Jersey City, right across from Battery Park, and to get there, you have to kind of pretty much go up the Holland Tunnel and over.
Yeah.
Well, they lifted the whole road.
Yeah.
So, or the bridge. So we were able to drive with really probably, I don't even know if we would have made it, but we must. Other people do.
Well, it was
'Cause there's big rigs
13.9
there.
is what they did. And prior to that, I think when we had gone back before, we had a smaller RV. And when we went to, and I said to the guy, I go, oh my God, that road. He goes, you're lucky you didn't lose your air conditioning, because a lot of times it cuts things off on some people. And so this time, though, I think, what was it, 4 or 5 years later, they're doing all the construction, and
Yeah.
they lifted it up at least.
Yeah,
And
so
that was great.
It's at least 14,
Yeah.
I think. But anyway, we headed down. Lesson learned. Stupid mistakes, but lesson learned. We got down there fine. We
Yep.
got to Jersey City. Like I said, we stayed at Liberty Harbor RV Park. We've been there before.
Yeah.
And guys, it's a great place to go see New York City for about $100 a night.
Yeah.
I don't want people going thinking it's some like incredible RV resort.
This is not an RV
that,
resort.
In that there's no pool, there's no. But the amenities and the conveniences. Well, by amenities, I just did a blog.
Okay,
on
I
it.
was thinking about this.
Well, there's buses that come through. There's
True, yeah.
there's a lot of things that they offer. I mean, just the convenience alone.
The ferry.
If you're just trying the transportation, jumping ahead on me there, Neil, but just to think about, hey, I want to go to New York City. Listen, you're not going to have campfires. Now, people do set up a little bit out front.
I saw people outside.
I wouldn't. We go and we park and we hook up. It has water and electric, and there's a dump station, so you'd have to pull out. And we use that. Like, we didn't set up much, so we could pull in the slides, go do a dump,
Yeah.
come back, and plug back in again. It's really easy. But, it's so convenient, and it offers, really, it's the best RV. It's the only RV park that can get you into New York City
Exactly.
in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
basically. There's 2 ferries. There's the Path. They also have bus tours that are available that you can sign up
Mm-hmm.
at the RV park. They do have a bathhouse. There's laundry.
There's laundry,
There's
yeah.
lots of facilities
There's
there. Plus,
actually-
there's a marina.
There's tent sites, too, I saw.
Yeah. There's a small tent area, and it's everything you need, and everything's walking distance. In Jersey, when we went last time, it was after Hurricane Sandy had
Yes.
hit. Probably about a year after.
No, I think it was like 6 months.
Was it 6 months?
Yeah, and they were
and
rebuilding
it really
a lot.
was devastated.
Yeah, it was
so
bad.
we were interested to see how much they'd come back there, and they really did. Restaurants had opened up
Yep.
again. So we did most of our dining for dinner
In Jersey
City.
Yeah.
And we spent our days in New York. So, we got there, we got hooked up, we went for dinner, and we're sitting at dinner, and Olivia's dying to get into
Oh,
New
my God.
because it's just like, you guys got to realize, like, it's right there. When you look out one of your windows in the RV, there's the Statue of
Yeah.
Liberty. Like, you can sit and have coffee in the morning and look at the Statue of Liberty. And out the other way, there's Freedom Tower,
Financial center, the whole thing.
financial district's right there.
Yeah.
So there is just, you can't, it was like holding back, a wild animal. The child wanted to
Yeah.
get into New York City.
She's like, I gotta go.
Last time we went was 4 or 5 years ago. Like, so at 8, 9 years old, she doesn't really remember stuff. So that's the whole thing with this whole trip, actually. And I mentioned that in the blog. You know, this was an opportunity because we kind of had dragged her along on a lot of trips that, you know, because the boys were older and she's always been a great sport and just went with it. And she was always great to take on vacation.
Oh, she's a great traveler.
She's a great traveler because she's been doing it since she was little.
Yeah.
Like I said, we didn't want to hold the older boys back because we had a younger one, and we just kept them all going and had pastimes, things to do, snacks, you know, and it just kind of all worked out. We always have taken breaks, and so she's learned to be a really great traveler. But, you know, this one, she was dying to get in there, and I think shop mostly.
Oh, she
and
was,
just see everything again.
And she's at that age, too, as a young lady, actually, that's into fashion. And she was thinking, you know, I want to go to the fashion district, and I want to look at all the stores, and she just had all these things. I think she thought she was going
to find a lot of deals.
I think so, too, yeah.
And we did, but not the deals I think she was hoping for. No. So we decided we had a...
New York is not an outlet
Do you remember the name of the restaurant the first night in Jersey City we went to? Started with an A.
Was it Amelia's?
Amelia's, I think it was. We got there and we looked up.
I had a great burger.
It was a great meal. It was sort of Mediterranean. It was in Jersey City. Like I said, it was probably like 2 blocks from where we were.
And that's the thing. Where we stayed, there were so many close restaurants by us that were just walking distance.
And we used TripAdvisor to get the best restaurants, I think. We got some good... I think we came up with some good things.
Oh, yeah.
Looked like we're locals, ate, and that kind of thing. And so we had this great meal at that restaurant. And I think that was great. And then we're like, you know what? Let's just go in the city.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we went down by the waterfront, which is, you know what, the view from like Jersey City. Just, you want the best pictures of New York. That is a beautiful place to take a picture.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
For sure.
It was the Paulus Ave.
Paulus Cove?
Paulus something. Right.
We should know this.
We should, but it was
anyway, it's Paulus.
And we took the ferry.
We took the ferry from there, and because the one by the RV park, it was done for the day, I think.
No, it's weekend hours.
It was that Saturday. We got there on a Saturday.
So we got there on a Saturday.
That was, it wasn't working on the weekend. So we went down to Paulus and took the ferry across, which was just fun to take the boat across. And, you know, for a couple bucks you get over. We got round trip. And then we just walked. Yeah. You know, we did a lot of walking. Like Neal said, we walked our feet off.
Oh, my God.
So that night, I mean, we just sort of covered Battery Park with her. We took her over to the 9/11 Memorial, at least to see the fountains. We had reservations, I'll get to in a minute, when we went to go see the museum, which was amazing. There's just no words. I don't even know. It's just no words.
Yeah.
But, you know, we just walked around and got a good feel for it. And we knew that the last ferry was going back, I think, like 8 or 8:30.
Yeah, we had like an hour or so.
So we were getting close. So we went back. But, you know, she at least got a taste of it. Yeah. So she could just be like, okay, I got it. And then went back and walked back to the RV park. It's very safe. I never felt it's a well-developed area. When you get over to Jersey, you know, I actually found anywhere we went, I felt safe. From New York to...
Yeah, that whole, like, I mean, I think
well
years and years ago maybe there was issues with stuff, but in the last couple of years, especially this trip, Jersey City itself was incredibly well developed. There's families everywhere. I felt incredibly safe.
Yeah.
Incredibly safe in Jersey City.
Very much a planned type community.
Totally.
You know.
And then when we get into Manhattan, where we went, which was all
everywhere.
It was great.
Yeah. So the next morning, that was the big day, and my birthday.
That was a great day.
I turned 25.
Yes, she did.
Not really. I actually was 46, but whatever. I just get...
It's 25 again.
25 again. So we got up pretty early, and we brought the dog on this trip, too. I don't know if we'd mentioned that before.
We always bring the dog.
We try to, like, spend time with her in the morning, had a nice breakfast, got ready, and then we headed in. We went back over to Paulus. Did we take the path that day?
No, we took the path that day.
We took the path that day, which was also over there.
Yep.
And we took it into, pretty much everything takes you into World Trade Center.
Yeah.
So that's where we started, and we just started to walk. We basically went to World Trade Center and started walking down Broadway, and we covered, honest to goodness, in that one, that was on a Sunday, we walked 17 miles that day.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was a great way to see New York.
34,000 steps, because we have
Fitbits, yeah.
And I don't think I've ever hit 34,000. And we were laughing all day.
It was great
because
we would
it was
stop.
hot too.
But we'd stop and we found a Shake Shack in a park for Olivia.
Yeah, as soon as we got there, it was a little late morning, and so she was ready she likes Shake Shack. It's one of those sort of places we found that when we go to New York, we have to go to.
We don't have one in Western New York.
So she got her shake and her burger, and she was happy, and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I think it was like a late breakfast for her.
Yeah.
But we just started walking, and that first day alone, we covered pretty much most of downtown. We hit NoHo, so a little bit of Little Italy, but not much. A little bit of Chinatown. We went back to that the next day.
Away.
And then we did, most of the day was Soho and NoHo. And I learned a lot more. Like when you go somewhere, you got to look it up and understand. Like I don't think I've ever taken the time to look up what those districts mean.
No.
And I always thought it was Houston Street. It's Houston Street. So it's north of Houston Street, south of Houston Street. It's really interesting to read how New York came to be, and that it was owned by him, and there was some financial issues along the way, and he sold things off. There was a Bowery, which there you got the Bowery District.
Yeah, the Bowery District.
It was just really interesting to just read, and you got to educate yourself when you're going somewhere. Part of it is, we go to shop and have fun, but I want to learn about the area too.
Yeah.
So that's where smartphones
area.
and Googles come in and iPads, just to look up. It totally makes the experience a totally different thing when you can read about. It brings things to life for me anyway.
It was pretty cool.
I thought I was reading off all these details to you. I don't know if you were interested or not.
No, I totally
was fascinated by it.
I totally was. I think it's kind of neat. Like if you think about it, that is a very old city as well.
Oh.
So, there's so much history there and so many things have happened over the years. And just to see, you have, I don't know how many people live there now, 8-9 million people. And how it divided up. You were able to, I like that you researched it. You were able to say, hey, this is this, and this, and this is this. And I like that.
Yeah. So as you're walking along, you can, learn a little bit more about where you're going and where you're at. So again, Olivia was there to shop. So
we shopped.
For us, the greatest shopping was in Soho.
Yes.
And it's, for me, such a different experience because we live in sort of the burbs and it's so mall driven and that kind of thing, Targets and all that, which, we love and use, but it was a different experience for me just to sort of go along and shop along the way.
Yeah.
And there would be like little mini malls and you'd come across, which would be really strange. Like we're in a mall and then you'd be in stores and like we came across, I felt like Neal was just there to carry our bags, but then we came across a really cool, I don't know, a comic book store, but it wasn't.
Was that Sunday we did that?
That was on Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, so we went to this comic book store that, I was like, well, we'll just go into the store because I knew that they wanted to shop and they found the comic book store and Kathy's like, you got to go in. So
I nerd out about that stuff.
It was nerdy, but it was cool. And I went in and actually I found, it's a bank, but it's Nightwing. I have a Nightwing bank now in my office, which people are like, what's Nightwing? But Nightwing is Batman's sidekick Robin grown up. So it was like this rare thing that I've never seen before.
It was a really cool find because they had comic books and all that stuff, and then a lot of collectibles.
A lot of collectibles.
Like I had a brother, so I was in the nerd stuff, and I'm a big Wonder Woman fan, and they had like the doll I had.
Yeah, they had that.
They had like stuff like that. So
lots of comic books and stuff.
And that's great for Olivia to see too. She was she was interested.
She liked it.
And then so I felt like you at least had that, Neal.
I did. I loved it.
You had the comic book store.
I had that, and also now I have in my office Nightwing, where people are like, well, what's that?
Yeah.
But I know.
So we, and then we kind of kept going. What I really wanted to hit that day was the Museum of Modern Art.
The MoMA.
So we pretty much covered all the way down. Of course, we hit Times Square. We went all the way down to the MoMA, had some lunch along the way. Mm-hmm. We're kind of obsessed with this restaurant called Chopped.
Chopped is good.
It's basically a chain, but they chop up your salad, and somehow it tastes delicious. Like
it's
better
amazing.
Than I love salad, but it tastes even better than that.
I actually, ever since we went to the one in Washington, when I get a salad, I cut it up into fine pieces.
Yeah, it's really
stupid, but it tastes good.
Bite-sized salad.
Yeah, it's good.
And so we spent a couple more hours there at the MoMA, and then we sort of walked back down, and then came along more like came up through Greenwich Village. And one of the special things we found in Greenwich Village was Neal and I had seen this really cool documentary on, what was it on, CBS This Morning?
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend of ours. It was on CBS This morning. Yeah,
we
Sunday
love this
morning.
show, Sunday morning. And they had talked about Hugh Jackman had done this documentary on what ended up becoming a fair trade coffee business, but he went and did work with, really brought light to what kind of work was going into making that cup of coffee you enjoy every morning.
Yeah, he was actually out there with the farmers.
He was working with them, and back-breaking work.
He didn't realize how hard a work it was, I think he said.
Yeah, really like slave labor,
yeah.
because these small towns, villages that run the coffee fields they weren't making a lot of money, they didn't own the fields, all this stuff. So then Hugh Jackman comes back, I guess, I don't know the exact sequence of events, but he basically came back, partnered up, started this fair trade business called The Laughing Man Coffee and Tea. And we wanted to find it because it's over in, actually it was in Tribeca. And as we're coming up through, I'm like, hey, we're around the corner, I think, from Hugh Jackman's place. Now, first and foremost reason I wanted to go try their coffee. And I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to deny saying that maybe I wanted to see if Hugh Jackman was going to be there. Wolverine, I mean, come on,
He wasn't.
He's kind of hot.
Hey.
But I love you, honey. But, it was just a really cool thing that, we'd seen the documentary, and then we could actually go and be. And I'll tell you what, you guys, we took this coffee, they ground it for us right there and brought it back. We only have maybe a cup in the morning, if that. And it's good to have a nice cup of coffee.
This was the best.
It is the best. It's Ethiopian blend. It is the best coffee we have ever had.
I don't know if you know this, but it's gone now.
I'm sad. I know today was the last day.
Yeah.
So, and then we came up through what I think is a fascinating area is over by Battery Park. And because we were heading back up, again, we were hitting 17 miles. We were still laughing and having fun.
It was good.
But it was coming to an end, I could tell. And we needed to get back to the dog.
Well, Olivia was a great sport.
She was terrific. I mean, for a 13, 14-year-old girl, she kept up, and she did not complain once.
Nope.
And we just had a fun day. But I really enjoyed walking through Battery Park and just seeing, because really I think what you see there is a lot more of younger families, there's schools.
It's a neighborhood.
It's literally a planned community. Like we got to find the Whole Foods there and just see. You always wonder, where do people shop? I always think they shop just for a few days at a time. But they have a really great Whole Foods there.
Yeah, we just walked
So we picked up some groceries while we were there. So if you need some groceries, that's a great place to go if you're on your travels.
I didn't realize how big it was going to be. So there's the entrances just in the building, and you go in, and it is huge, this Whole Foods in Battery Park.
Yeah.
It was 18 times bigger than I would have thought it would have been.
I didn't expect that in New York, So then we went back and we went out. We took the dog out a little bit and then freshened up. This is the one
then
thing
we had
I love
Kathy's
about
birthday dinner.
Well, I loved having the dog with us because it makes you go back. Because we would keep going and going and going. It makes you go back and take the dog out, relax, have a moment, and then we got cleaned up, and then we went out for a really nice birthday dinner down the street. And we crashed that night. It was, exhausting.
It was exhausting,
and
but it was good.
Got up. We had one more day. We got up Monday morning, and we started off the day. That was the day that we had our tickets to the 9/11 museum.
Yes.
And I just want to take a moment to talk about that because something I talked about in the blog. I just think it's its own thing to talk about. It just has to have its own topic. That to me, and I think to Neal, we both just feel like that should be a pilgrimage in everyone's lifetime.
Everyone should do it. Everybody should do it.
It is the most depressing thing as it should be, that you'll ever do. But I think it's important that we pay respects to something that happened to this nation and really changed the way
we
the
do
country,
everything.
But
honestly, everything changed on that day.
It did. And I think there was a lot of controversy around, we had seen before and we'd visited while we were on this trip, the fountains, and they're beautiful, and everyone's names on there of all the lives lost. And, it's a sight to behold for sure. But I have to say, this museum, there's a lot of controversy around it because for the family members in particular, that's sacred ground. That's where their family and you know, that some remains are still there. So you have to be, I have to say the one thing I was disgusted by was people taking selfies and the pouting of lips and look at me and look where I am. And it's like, there should be a decorum about you when you're in a place like that.
I found that more at the fountain, though, that people did that. But I think once you actually go into the museum, I just saw a lot of people heads down, taking it all in.
Well, I didn't realize that
Very
you were
emotional.
going down under. I didn't know the whole setup of the museum. So when you realize that you're next to where the footprint of the buildings were, and you're really where the seawall was, and they actually built that in as part of the museum. I mean, I know, like I said, I know there's controversy around it that they don't. I mean, it's weird. You're in this place that people died and that family members and friends utilize. I think for a lot of people use that as a place to go visit their loved ones, like they would at a gravesite.
Sure.
But I think I think they did a phenomenal job of making that possible for the families. I hope they feel the same way. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But to me, as an outsider, that I didn't lose anyone there, except, obviously our hearts were broken when that happened. But when you go in there, you feel that energy. But you also are educated. They brought in some very powerful pieces of that history in there, from the fire truck to...
Yeah, they did a fantastic job laying out the series of events, either in both visually with media and TV coverage and radio signals, and then it was a timeline of what happened and what led up to it. There was a couple films about that and what's happened since, and just a memorial to all the people that had passed. It was incredibly moving.
It's overwhelming.
I mean, it was so many things. I mean, Olivia just was like head down, reading everything, just taking it all in. And I know for myself, I was incredibly touched. I know you were. You were incredibly moved.
I think I cried probably 10 times.
Oh, absolutely. But they did an amazing job.
Here we are 15 years later, and it's still alive.
Wow,
It's still like just so raw down there.
And they keep it alive, I think, with all the things that they're doing, because there was a lot of memories, and there was even a room where they would just read the names of the people that had passed.
Yeah, you could just go sit in this darkened room and
it was crazy.
The whole thing was amazing.
Yeah.
But, so if you have that opportunity, now the museum at this point still, you need to make reservations, and it does cost, because there is a cost for maintaining this. Yeah. But all proceeds obviously go to keeping it going. But when we went last time, you had to actually have reservations to even go in to see the fountains. You do not anymore. It's completely open, and a lot of building has been complete even around the area. But it's taken 15 years.
Yeah.
To get to that. I was taken by all of that too, the timeline.
What got me too, not just that, just the project itself, it's enormous.
It's enormous.
It was, when it was in full bloom and working and vital, an enormous structure to begin with. And then it all came down and had to be cleaned up and sifted through, and it's just such a huge undertaking that they did.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a great job. New York did a great job on that, and also, what's that building too? That's the transportation center, the Oculus. That's
the
next
Oculus,
to it.
yeah, the entryway. But see, that's where it felt weird to me. It's becoming a big shopping mall.
Oh yeah.
And so something is getting that part. I was like, this shouldn't be high-end shopping. There's high-end stores coming in. And that felt weird. That didn't feel right to me. So some of it, I think that they didn't do that right.
Yeah, but it was
the
also...
The structure itself looked very much like an airplane and this whole thing. And I was intrigued by that. And you go in, it's really what takes you to the path and the subways and that whole thing. But then there's like these high-end shopping, and you're just like, oh...
It's a beautiful structure, but I see what you're saying. I get that. I get that.
But that's just my opinion.
After we left, I needed some chocolate or something happy, because it was just a very sad...
I would tell anyone...
I was heavy after that.
Monday was a tough day.
It was heavy.
To start like that, it as it should, again, I don't feel like we should go la 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 and move on our way. It really hung over us all day.
All day.
So I think you need to be prepared for that. So we tried, we really wanted to still see more of New York before we headed out. We did spend some time in Chinatown. We had an amazing time just walking around and taking in, we'll say, the culture and all the sights and
Chinatown's
smells.
very busy.
New York on that Monday, it was rather hot, and I don't know if you
hot.
guys have heard this, but it can be kind of an interesting fragrance
Yes.
in summer. Funny because it wasn't like that on the weekend.
No, you know what it was, though?
It got worse on Monday.
Honestly, I was talking to somebody Saturday, Sunday when we went. Most people aren't there, so the people
was quiet
it's quieter.
for New York.
People that live there are there, and then on Monday when we went, that's when everybody comes into work.
A lot of commuters.
So it was a ton. I mean, it doubled in traffic.
It really swells.
Yeah.
And then there was, they do say there is an interesting fragrance in New York in the summer, and I would agree with that. So we just sort of dealt with that.
Yeah.
But we made our way through Chinatown, and that's just fascinating, just to see all that's going on there. And then
Busy
wandered,
place.
oh my God, it's
Oh my
busy.
God.
And then we wandered over to Little Italy, and it
Which
was
is like honestly like 3 blocks over.
yeah, it's like you're in China, now you're in Italy.
Yeah.
And it's such a feel of that.
Yeah.
Like I've never been to either, but to me it felt like, I could be in Italy right now. It
Yeah.
feels like Italy. And we had a really great, we had a really great lunch. I think it was probably the best meal that we had.
That was
I think it was
great.
called
Di
Gennaro's. And it's all like all the restaurants. We're right on Mulberry Street, and all the restaurants there are all open. So you're like sitting near the sidewalks
Yeah.
or whatever. I'll tell you, it's the best service. We had a great pizza and salad.
Great pizza and salad.
And it was just like sitting there, just watching the world go by,
Yeah.
and you felt like you were in Italy and you were in New York.
And again, it was really busy too. So we got to have a nice sit down, just have a nice lunch, and just watch it.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was great.
And then, actually, one of Neal's patients had told us that we had to go. If you're a rice pudding fan, there's a place
I
not
like
too
rice
far
pudding.
from there. I'm like, I could take it or leave
I
it.
like rice pudding.
But we told her we were going to go, and it's called Rice to Riches. So we went over there. It was not too far, and it's sort of like an ice cream parlor where you pick out your flavors.
Oh my God.
And so you could taste them, and then there's toppings. So we just thought, well, let's just try. We went with this hazelnut one. It was almost like eating this light Nutella rice pudding to die for. It's hysterical. I think she saw it on TV or something on Food Network.
I mean, when you walk in, you're like, you swear you're in an ice cream parlor.
Yeah.
Though. There's signs up.
There's
and
signs up saying leave
everywhere.
Weight Watchers at the door.
It's diet. What's that?
Actually, they're not. I was looking up the calories
No,
on
there's
it.
not a lot
They're
of
not
calories.
that bad.
No.
So although we were full from lunch, we did share a rice pudding that was
Yeah.
delicious. And then we walked around some more, and Olivia really wanted to go back to Soho,
Which we did.
which we did. And, I think by about 2:30, we were crashing.
We were done.
It was really hot that
It was
day.
hot,
It was
and
very busy.
We had walked at that point. I think almost was it 28 miles or something.
Well, that day we did only 7.5 miles. So yeah, we were hitting near 26 or 27 miles in 2.5 days. So I looked at Neal and Olivia. I'm like, you guys ready to go back to the RV? Because I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do that and head back and just flop for a little while.
Yep.
Went for an early dinner at a diner. That was phenomenal.
It was very good.
It was great.
It was very good.
And then, we decided, again, with that whole flexibility thing, I think we were tired.
Yeah.
I did feel rested, so I can't say I was tired.
Right.
But the thought of, driving a whole day the next day sounded crazy to us, so we thought we'd break up the drive. And at dinner, I'm like, do you guys want to start to drive back? Because all we had to do was close it up and go.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about RVs, is you have that kind of freedom to just sort of I think I'm good. I want to head home now.
Yeah.
And so, our plan had been, let's drive halfway, stop somewhere to sleep, kind of like we did on the way to Maine. That's why I wanted to break it up like that. So I drove a couple hours to start, handed the wheel over to Neal, and...
But you know me better than that.
I tried to stay awake. I was exhausted.
So-
I knew in the back of my mind that I was going to wake up and be in our condo, and
So-
by God, that's what happened.
This is what, it was about a 6.5 hour ride for us at this point. I think we took off around 6 or 7 o'clock. And I knew when she said, hey, do you want to just go? I knew, she's like, we'll stop, we'll sleep. And I know myself that we were not going to stop. So
I know you get in your mind, well, we're only an hour or two
we were
away.
like
Why am
3
I gonna
hours
stop?
away from home. We hit Syracuse. I put some music on. About 11 o'clock, you went and laid down, and I got us home. And it was a great ride.
And I'm not gonna lie that I was like cool with that because you know what, we got up. I woke Olivia. We were up, she and I were sleeping, and we got up and we went up and into bed. We got up, had our cup of coffee, cleaned out the RV.
Yeah.
Because we had to start work.
Actually,
we ended up going into work that night because we had so many phone calls. We're like, why don't we go do a couple hours? Because we were so, this is one thing. When we go away, we usually have to you have to pay to play. Wow. So when we come back from vacation, Neal's patients are like banging at the door. So
and they're very, very understanding that when we travel.
But they were ready for you to come home. Yeah, so we got a few lucky in that night and had a busy week. But it was a fantastic vacation.
Totally recommend Maine. Totally
really different for us with less kids. Still had a great time. Yep. Great, New York, great place to be for your birthday. I mean, it was a fantastic.
You had a good birthday?
It was one of the best. Even though awesome. I mean, what would have made that day better would have been having the boys there. Yeah. But like I said, I woke up that morning and I'm like, I'm going to make today. I'm not. I miss them, but I'm not going to miss them. I'm going to make today a good day and enjoy you guys. And I'm in New York City. It was a great day. And
would you say a lot? New York City, baby.
New York City, baby. So it was a really fun day. So go check out the blog. Like I said, I got all the links and everything on there for Wild Acres in Maine and Liberty Harbor RV. You can get all the information on there and
they're great places.
Where to go get reservations for that. And Neal, how do they find us?
You can always check out the blogs, and please do at www.rvglampingadventures.com. You can also find us on Facebook at RV Glamping Adventures. You can find us on Twitter at RV Glampers. We're also on Instagram and YouTube, RV Glamping Adventures. There's some videos that we've done as well.
Yeah, check them out.
Yeah.
So we will get back at you guys next week to talk about, we got some stuff coming up for the fall. So have a great weekend.
Have a great one. Take care.
Welcome to Beverly Beach Camptown RV Resort. Celebrating 35 years, single-family owned. They're one of the few resorts in the U.S. situated directly on the ocean with 1,500 linear feet of Atlantic Ocean beachfront for your enjoyment, with attractions like Daytona Beach 30 miles to the south and St. Augustine, the nation's oldest city 32 miles to the north. There are activities to keep everyone busy. They're truly a year-round premier camping destination. So what are you waiting for? Check them out at BeverlyBeachCamptown.com.